The final battle for the strongest in era kicks off, pitting the Undying War King Lin Ji against Sword Saint Bailey Greatwall. But the crowd doubts a hard worker can match Lin Ji's raw talent, and Bailey is immediately overwhelmed by his opponent's sheer power. Turns out Lin Ji, the top berserker, has absolutely flawless control. Every strike targeting a vital point until Bailey's defense just shatters, leaving the #1 swordsman completely stunned and defenseless, and a system alert confirms his HP is now critically low, so Lin Jie looms over him, the clear victor of this showdown. Smirking as he declares this round is his win. Bailey spits blood, seemingly accepting his loss for a second, but his pride immediately flares up. Refusing to go down, he gets to his feet, enraged at the very idea of losing, and decides to use a power that makes hard work totally irrelevant. Turns out he's a pay-to-win player, activating infinite weapon durability, which instantly repairs his shattered sword as Lin Jie watches in shock. Then he drops $500,000 to activate super speed. Blitzing forward with an attack Lin Jie can barely see coming, and the blow sends our boy flying, knocking his sword from his hand. Bailey then gloats that effort alone can't beat a fat wallet. Lin Jie can't even track his movements anymore, so Bailey just buys a teleport and one-hit kill, instantly appearing to land the fatal blow, and a system alert confirms his account is deleted. A memory plays of his character asking Bailey why he'd rather cheat than lose their fight, but Bailey just apologizes for the betrayal, hoping they can be brothers in the next life. Back in reality, the system reboots and kicks him out, leaving Lin Jie absolutely furious at the loss. His mind races, recalling a life spent at the absolute bottom, how he believed pure hard work could change his fate, and how he clawed his way to the top all on his own, getting just one single step away from that final throne. He'd even gambled his entire life on this one shot, only to lose it all in the most humiliating way possible, now wishing he could do it all over again, but without the morals. As his final thought screams through the system, he refuses to accept this. The sheer mental shock hits him back in the real world, leaving Lin Jie gasping, his eyes burning with pure hatred. He wakes up on his floor, completely lost, and a girl walks in, asking why he's cosplaying a corpse. Lin Jie's world shatters when he recognizes his little sister, who was supposed to be in a coma for the last 3 years. Yeah, the kind of coma that requires full life support, which is exactly where all his prize money went. So he grabs her, demanding to know why she's not in the hospital, and she just thinks he fried his brain from pulling an all-nighter. He's totally confused, asking what year it even is, and she tells him it's launch day for Era. He's traveled back 5 years. It hits him hard. This isn't a dream. He's actually been reborn, recalling the absolute despair of Bailey's backstabbing betrayal, and how fate just handed him a second chance. His entire life and game got a full factory reset, so this time, he's aiming for the absolute top of ERA. He'll even hit up Loan Sharks again for the game helmet, diving back into the VR world that took over everything, where he was once known as the Undying War God, the free-to-play legend who climbed ranks on pure skill, getting one step from the throne before his friend caved to greed. He's still haunted by Bailey's betrayal, but dwelling on the past is a total waste of time. He's leaving zero room for regrets. With the helmet on, he logs straight into ERAOL, getting the standard prompt to choose a class. He remembers how everyone started blind the first time, but for a 5-year veteran, this game has no secrets. Every strategy and hidden path is already in his head, so he's aiming for the absolute top this time around. The King of Pure Skill is officially back in business. He spawns right into the beginner village plaza, where players are already roasting someone for picking the warrior class, and of course, that someone is Lin Jie, who they call a broke scrub. He just smirks, knowing that even after being reborn, he's still a warrior, flashing back 2 years to a massive undead invasion where a single hero held the line against an impossible horde. And yeah, that was him, confirming he'd make the same choice again. A blonde companion points out the obvious flaw in that logic, since warriors can't afford good gear or use any flashy spells, making them nothing more than glorified cannon fodder. His companion tries to sell him on the elegant swordsman class, but Lin Jie is all about the warrior's path of pure tenacity, surviving every single crisis through sheer grit to earn a title, becoming the legendary Undying War God, a level 80 berserker. His friend then questions if he can even keep that title after their fight, so Lin Jie just smirks and proposes a little bet, a wager on whether or not he'll lose his legendary status, declaring he'll still be the war god when he comes back. Back in the present, the logic is simple. Warriors have high HP, and that's the exact same path he chose in his last life. He remembers the Berserker's whole deal, turning HP into raw power, knowing whales only ever pick the flashy, high DPS classes. All around him are the usual suspects, mages, swordsmen, and hunters, so every party is just a predictable mix of glass cannons. Too bad they'll get absolutely wrecked by the early game's busted monsters, while his warrior class has a built-in survival edge. And just then, his first quest pops up with a 5-minute timer. The target is the newbie instructor, an old man named Outright, and Lin Jie feels a wave of nostalgia seeing the familiar face, right before some random punk bumps into him, calling him trash. The guy blocking his path is a level 2 paladin named Balai, and he's got a seriously punchable face who's trying to shake Lin Jie down for a single copper coin just to get past him. But Lin Jie's already clocked that the server's only been live for 30 minutes. This guy paid for that level. It's the oldest trick in the book. Buy the newbie EXP pack for an instant advantage. Then use that tiny level gap to bully actual new players for protection money. Too bad for him. Lin Jie knows these guys are all bark and no bite, just paper tigers with zero skill, recalling how the first quest gives you 10 copper coins, making the 1 coin fee seem reasonable. but our boy isn't about to hand over his cash to some low-level thug. The paladin just screams that he should pay up because he's obviously stronger, then tells Lin Jai to delete his character before charging in, only to get his attack casually blocked. The paladin is stunned, realizing he can't put any force into his attack at all, because Lin Jai is using the grip boost starting talent that everyone else ignores. The skill enhances finger strength and grants disarm resistance, a pretty niche perk on paper, so Balai just laughs, calling it a trash talent that only helps you hold your weapon tighter. With a confident smirk, Lin Jai says that might be true for a scrub like him, but for a real player it's the strongest talent there is, blasting the guy backwards. The paladin is absolutely floored, realizing he was just disarmed with bare hands, as Lin Jai explains that even a garbage talent has hidden uses if you know what you're doing. Turns out grip boost scales with strength and can even counter with a disarm of its own, meaning this level 2 whale has less base STR than a fresh character, a total gaming amateur. What the paladin doesn't get is that this trash talent is secretly one of the strongest in the game, because it eventually evolves into Titan's Grip, a god-tier skill for one-handing dragon-slaying greatswords. Just then, the paladin's buddies spot the city guards and immediately scatter, leaving him all alone. The whale gloats that Lin Ji is about to be executed, screaming to the guards that he was attacked first. Facing two level 5 guards who could easily one-shot him, Lin Ji just casually admits he did it, which gets the paladin all excited, demanding the guards punish our boy on the spot. But the guard just calmly states that Lin Ji's action was purely a defensive move. As the paladin sputters in total confusion, the guard turns on him, ready to enforce the rules. He starts panicking, trying to pull the I'm a VIP card to get out of trouble, but Lin Jie already knows the system flags the aggressor, letting the defender retaliate without penalty. The guards waste no time bringing the hammer down, making the paladin pay for his little stunt, and the system itself forces Balai to compensate Lin Jie with the 1 copper coin he demanded, which our boy catches, smugly realizing he not only won but got paid for his trouble. He then turns to the paladin's buddies, sarcastically accepting their apology for blocking his path, asking if they're planning to toss him a few more coins for the inconvenience, or if they're just going to get the hell out of his way. His stare says it all. Faced with that icy glare, the thugs immediately start sweating bullets, their bravado completely gone, so they part like the Red Sea, letting Lin Jai walk right through without another word. He heads straight for the newbie instructor, Outright, to finally turn in his first quest, greeting the old man like a long-lost friend, which for him is literally true. Outright is completely baffled, asking how Lin Jai knows him when the game just launched, but our boy just sits down, casually telling the NPC they're old friends from 5 years ago. Shrugging it off, Outright offers the standard newbie rewards, cash, potions, or a basic sword, and Lin Jai knows any normal player would take the money for a quick real-world profit. Instead, he confidently asks for the secret option 4, which isn't even on the menu, leaving the instructor thinking this kid has completely lost his mind. Lin Jai then starts reciting a cryptic phrase, the key to unlocking the hidden reward, and Outright's jaw hits the floor, demanding to know where he heard that secret code. Unfazed, Lin Jai continues the verse about a new era dawning from the ashes of the old gods, then reminds the stunned NPC that he's the one who gave him that code in the first place. A flashback reveals Lin Jai saved Outright's family 5 years ago, completing a hidden quest, and the grateful NPC admitted he had no real reward to offer for such a heroic deed. Instead, he gave Lin Jai a secret code phrase to use if he ever needed help in the future, promising it would work even if the system wiped his memory of the entire event. Back in the present, the code works perfectly, and Outright realizes Lin Jai is a critical figure from his past, so with the hidden condition met, he offers our boy the secret Veteran's Return reward. Lin Jai clenches his fist, remembering how he lost his last life to dirty, unfair tricks, declaring that this time he flat-out refuses to accept that kind of injustice. His reward is an initial talent stone, a gem that lets him pick any starting talent he wants, and the crowd absolutely loses it, realizing he just got a priceless, unbuyable select-a-talent gem. To become the strongest in this life, Lin Jai knows he needs the absolute best possible start, so for his second talent, he picks Oath of the Sword, the first step in rewriting his fate. Outright explains the talent grants legendary swordsmanship, created by a master swordsman, but the catch is you're locked into only using swords forever, a deal Lin Jai accepts instantly. The other players immediately start roasting him for picking a trash tier, off-mepa sword skill, but Outright knows the strongest weapon isn't the blade, it's the one who wields it. Lin Jai mentally thanks someone named Adelaide for the gift, already walking away from the crowd, knowing he's miles ahead of his past life, getting a second talent at level 1 instead of 30. After all, the pay-to-win advantage drops off hard after level 5, forcing whales to keep spending. While a player with actual skill can climb the ranks with nothing more than a crude iron sword, he knows swords don't have the brute force of an axe or the flashy power of a staff, but what the metaslaves don't get is that a blade is the ultimate test of pure skill. His original plan was to just pick Grip Boost, grab the free sword, and start grinding mobs, but this time he snagged the hidden talent stone instead, walking away totally empty-handed. That single decision has already altered the entire course of his new life, and he realizes these new choices might just change his tragic fate with Bailey. Now he's determined to get overwhelmingly strong and completely rewrite that ending so he heads to the market where other players are already trying to sell their starter loot. He walks up to one stall, bluntly asking to see what kind of crap they're peddling, and the vendor immediately gets offended, tossing a broken sword and calling it all junk. Lin Jai picks up the shoddy weapon, a level 1 wooden club with a pathetic 1 attack point, but he immediately clocks that it's also tagged as a sword perfect for his new talent, and just then he realizes the vendor is in some serious trouble nearby. The poor guy is begging some thug to leave him alone, explaining he's just a non-combat player, and of course the local bully is mocking him for being a life skills player, calling him a coward. Lin Jai immediately steps in, schooling the thug on how combat players need crafters to even survive, then turns to the vendor and asks the price for the club, a single humble copper coin. The bully demands to know who he is, so Lin Jai just calmly introduces himself as a warrior, which gets a huge laugh, but our boy buys the club with the exact coin he won earlier. He absolutely infuriates the thug, who screams that Lin Jai just ruined his good deed of shaking people down. Lin Jai sarcastically asks if the thug's good deed is just shaking down other players, but the guy just mocks him for getting scammed on a worthless wooden club, then decides our boy isn't even worth the effort and tells his crew they're leaving. The thugs walk off, still laughing about how Lin Jai got played by a con artist, and Lin Jai admits to himself that selling junk clubs to newbies is a classic early game scam, a simple trick that preys on clueless players trying to save a single coin. But he's no newbie, his veteran instincts sense this club has both sword and mace attributes. A bizarre combination that should be impossible for any normal weapon in the game, which can only mean one thing. This is an unidentified artifact in disguise. A system alert confirms he's equipped the club, ready to start his new journey with a hidden legendary weapon. His stats are nothing special, but that club gives him a solid attack boost for a level 1, and just as he's ready to grind, the entire server gets hit with a massive world event. A full-blown demon assault on Meltown, tasking every player with defending the gates. Lin Jai knows this place is a hotspot for high-attack level 2 horror demons swarming the north gate, and he remembers that in his past life, this entire town got completely wiped off the map. The other players, smelling easy EXP, immediately start rushing toward the fight for glory, but the city guards are trying to stop the low-level cannon fodder from getting instantly deleted. Lin Jai, however, just walks right up and calmly demands they let him pass. The guard warns him he'll lose newbie protection, but our boy is looking for opponents on his level, and he makes it clear that even higher level monsters are exactly what he wants to fight. The guards hesitate for a second, but Lin Jai just flatly tells them to open the gate. His bravery immediately triggers a hidden system, boosting his reputation to friendly with the town. Turns out, ERA secretly rewards players who take on impossible challenges with hidden quests and favorability. And right on cue, the impressed captain offers him a special side quest for his courage. The mission is to retrieve the bodies of 3 fallen soldiers from the horror demon leader's camp. Lin Jai knows this high-risk quest could change Meltown's entire fate if he pulls it off. He turns to the captain, calling him by name, and says they won't be needing any funerals. His real plan is to kill the newbie killer boss himself, a feat only possible for a low-level player. With his future knowledge of the boss's patterns, he's confident he can win even at level 1. The captain is just floored, demanding to know how this stranger could possibly know his name. Lin Jai doubles down, promising to save the town and bring the soldiers back alive, but the captain calls him delusional, insisting they're all dead without a literal miracle. So our boy just smirks, telling the guy to relax because he's looking at that miracle. He's determined to use his own 2 hands to rewrite fate this time around, stepping out into a graveyard and finding the grim atmosphere absolutely perfect for his plans. After all, ERA is a brutally difficult game whose insane rewards keep players hooked, and he spots a party of players already scrambling for a tank around a campfire. For any normal person, teaming up is the only logical strategy to survive out here, but of course he's immediately spotted by the same thug from the market, who starts roasting him in front of everyone for still carrying that worthless wooden club. Lin Jai just finds the whole tough guy act completely and utterly boring, so the bully steps up, mocking him for even thinking about solo grinding in this area, while his buddies laugh that a level 1 warrior with a club would only drag them down. But Lin Jai knows that while partying is safer, it also seriously cuts into your profits, and for a real pro, soloing is the only way to go, right before the thug throws a punch. Our boy casually blocks the attack, sending the guy stumbling back in total shock, and he immediately clocks that the night's starting talent must be Scorching Retribution, a flashy skill that makes you look tough by covering you in holy flames, but secretly tanks your strength and makes you as fragile as paper, useless for tanking. That means the brawler in front of him is nothing more than a complete coward. The bully's brilliant plan kicks off as a horror demon immediately spots Lin Jai, and with the monster's aggro locked on, the knight runs off gloating about his free kill. Lin Jai realizes the guy deliberately kited the mob over, admitting this one has a few more brain cells than the last idiot. As the demon leaps to attack, our boy knows this is just a warm-up for his real quest, which leaves the thugs totally stunned, assuming he's just frozen stiff with pure terror. But Lin Ji's eyes narrow, his veteran instincts already reading the monster's attack pattern, perfectly predicting the exact path of its clumsy downward swing, and a system alert confirms a perfect dodge, as he casually sidesteps the massive blow. After all, a true warrior only gets stronger when he's staring death right in the face, because to become the undying war god, you have to constantly flirt with danger. With a new fire in his eyes, Lin Jai vows to become the absolute strongest in this life, and immediately cracks the horror demon across the face for a solid critical hit, which only serves to enrage the monster, jacking up its attack power by 50%. The cowardly knight immediately starts panicking, screaming that the monster's charging up a fatal blow, but Lin Ji knows he's not even close to his limit. Stepping right into the danger zone, he needs to get even closer, a wild grin on his face as he closes the distance and lands another perfectly timed critical hit right on the monster's jaw. The blow completely stuns the demon, interrupting its charged attack and leaving the bully speechless, but he's not done yet, using the opening to get even closer to the staggered beast, unleashing a massive glowing swing with his supposedly worthless wooden club. The final blow lands, and the system confirms the solo kill for our boy, leaving the peanut gallery absolutely speechless that he did it with a wooden club, and the cowardly knight immediately chalks it up to dumb luck, refusing to believe it was skill. A hooded player named Rex steps up, assuming Lin Jai must be a closed beta tester, and he's so impressed he immediately tries to recruit him, saying his party needs an expert. An offer Lin Jai shuts down with a hard no, before the guy can even finish his sentence. Undeterred, Rex guesses he's going for the Chanter Griffin boss and mentions he has 4 people, conveniently making Lin Jai the perfect 5th member for the recommended party size, even offering a generous 50-50 split on the rewards to sweeten the deal. Too bad Lin Jai knows that 5 players is just a suggestion, not a hard rule. Rex can't believe he's actually thinking of soloing, insisting pure skill won't cut it for this boss, and he lays out the stakes. The first kill drops legacy gear, with 20 other teams racing for it. He then boasts his team has the best shot, but they'll get wiped by the boss's elite mobs without a tank, so Lin Jai just smirks, pointing out the obvious fact that they just need a tank and he happens to be one. Rex immediately tries to play it cool, waving off the accusation, claiming they totally rate his skill and aren't just looking for a warm body to fill the slot. But Lin Jai knows the score. They just want a disposable scapegoat to draw the boss's attention. Rex just gives him a smug look, basically asking if he's going to cry about the obvious trap, so Lin Jai, knowing full well it's a setup, calmly accepts the invitation anyway. The system confirms he's in, helpfully reminding him that boss difficulty scales with party size. Lin Ji knows the boss goes full power with 5 players, guaranteeing a one-of-a-kind reward, and he also knows this is a one-time quest that deletes the boss and its loot from the game forever. To become the strongest in this life, he absolutely needs to get his hands on that specific reward, and he's fully prepared to snatch this single opportunity right out from under his new friends. As they reach the instance portal, they find the entrance already littered with monster corpses, so his new teammates immediately start complaining that he wasted his strength before the real fight, whining about how hard it is to get potions, or even a few copper coins this early on. Meanwhile, Lin Jai spots a glowing sword on a dead monster near the portal's entrance, and his own wooden club suddenly starts glowing too, searching for a host. But his party just tells him to ignore it, calling it a non-lootable monster drop. While his new teammate is busy explaining game economics, Lin Ji is already on the move, ignoring the lecture to touch the monster's blade with his club, which is now searching for a host, and the club, revealed to be the branch of the world tree, instantly fuses with the new weapon. A system alert confirms he just got the Horodemon's jagged sword, a high crit lead weapon, which triggers a memory of seeing this exact artifact at an auction in his past life, where he learned its true power is coiling around any item and transforming it into a proper sword, a legendary hilt that sold for 100 million, and he just found it on a random corpse. The completely flips the early game on its head, where players are normally outgeared by basic mobs, and he realizes he can use it to literally snatch weapons right out of monsters' hands for free. His status screen updates, showing off his new sword and a very fitting title, The One Who Returned. They arrive to find the town guards already getting wiped out by some unseen force, and it turns out to be the Chanter Griffin, with NPCs charging straight to their deaths. Rex immediately stops Lin Jai, explaining this is a scripted cutscene they have to watch, revealing his master plan is to let the NPCs get flattened to trigger the boss's rest phase, and only then will they all rush in for an easy, risk-free kill. Too bad our boy has zero patience for that, shouting at the soldiers to fall back. His entire party just stares, completely dumbfounded by his decision to break the script, as he tells them his way is to start the fight now, marching right past them. Nearby players immediately start roasting him for being an idiot who pulled the boss early, so Rex just tells his crew to back off and let the fool get himself deleted. Lin Jai knows charging in first means painting a massive target on his back, but this isn't just a suicide run, he's got a very specific reason for this move. By changing the world line, he can completely alter the quest's entire direction, becoming the butterfly that rewrites fate as he meets the boss's blade head-on. Back with the party, Rex is just waiting for the idiot to die and trigger the boss's rest phase, but one of his guys points out that Lin Jai would get an equal share of the loot. A problem Rex solves with a smug little grin, promising that won't be an issue. And right on cue, a system alert confirms he's been kicked from the party mid-fight, which doesn't stop him from perfectly parrying the boss's massive downward strike, landing with a smirk as he realizes their plan is to sacrifice newbies to weaken the boss. They're convinced a level 1 player stands zero chance against a boss meant for 5 people. But unfortunately for them, they seriously miscalculated who they're dealing with. He's not some clueless newbie, he's a warrior literally reborn from hell itself, and the Chanter Griffin just stares down, completely unimpressed by the light show. Right before Lin Jai unleashes a swing, so fast it actually breaks the sound barrier. Rex's crew is completely stunned, wondering if they really just heard a sonic boom as our boy closes the distance, ready to meet the monster head-on, his eyes glowing as he prepares to land a devastating first strike, activating his Oath of the Sword talent to sharpen his blade for the impact, and the system confirms a massive attack boost, carving a chunk right out of the boss's health. The hit lands hard, engulfing the boss in a storm of purple energy, which just triggers its phase 2 as the Griffin powers up for a massive counterattack. Lin Jai just stands his ground, knowing that staring down death is the only way to get stronger, while Rex's crew calls him a moron for trying to block a charged strike, ready to clean up the mess. The boss's attack slams down with enough force to level a building, but as the dust settles, the Griffin seems almost confused, because Lin Ji is still standing, explaining that choosing a dead-end class is something they'd never understand. He knows they can't grasp his logic, because not everyone in the world is born with the right to choose, flashing back to his life where a shopkeeper explained how class choices were literally pay to win. The rich could buy top-tier DPS, while the poor were stuck with supports or cannon fodder classes like his. He flashes back to why he chose this path. The warrior class was free, perfect for a broke player, realizing that by clinging to the one thing he had, he was actually giving up every other option. Back in the present, Rex is completely losing his mind over how a level 1 player survived that hit, but Lin Jai knows this is the only way for a commoner to get strong. Maximum danger, maximum effort. Turns out his grip boost talent lets him hold his sword so tight he can use it as a shield, and he's holding on to this second chance with everything he's got, trusting his blade completely. His perfect block creates an opening, staggering the massive Griffin for just a moment, and having given up every other path, this single road is now packed with opportunity, vowing that even a god will die before him on his path to become the absolute strongest. With a final roar, he unleashes his own counterattack, screaming for the Griffin to die. His final attack connects in a massive explosion of light, completely overwhelming the Griffin, and he brings his blade down with a final glowing swing, ending the fight in one clean shot, getting an instant system alert confirming he's successfully slain the Chanter Griffin solo. As the boss's body crumbles to the ground, Lin Jai finally gets a moment to catch his breath, admitting that tanking a boss hit at his level was insane, but his warrior HP saved him, leaving him with just a sliver of health right before the system drops a massive EXP bonus, which instantly bumps him to level 2 and updates his status with some solid new stats. Meanwhile, Rex's crew is just staring from the sidelines, completely unable to process what happened, realizing he somehow interrupted the boss's second phase and got the server first kill achievement. So naturally, they immediately start screaming that he must have cheated, because there's no way that was skill. Rex immediately orders his crew to start looting, smugly assuming they'll get a cut just for showing up. Too bad his goon gets an error message, finding out he's not even eligible to pick up a single coin, and the guy absolutely loses it, screaming about why the system won't let him touch the rewards. That's when the horrible realization hits Rex. He kicked Lin Jai from the party right before the kill, which means every single drop now belongs exclusively to our boy, a fact that sends the crew into a meltdown. The grand prize is a legacy artifact, the Chanter Griffin's Golden Bell, a once-a-day shield that knocks back attackers. Lin Jai just calmly observes the tiny bell, noting how small the exclusive drop is for such a big boss, before casually reaching out to claim his hard-earned reward while the others can only watch. The moment he loots the bell, every other coin and item on the ground starts flying straight toward him, and one of the thugs makes a desperate grab for a coin, only for it to phase right through his hand. As Rex's crew fumes, Lin Jai calmly picks up every single coin that should have been theirs, but Rex tells his goon to chill, because he's already cooking up a new, scummier plan. He reminds them of ERA's brutal loot rules. If you die, you drop everything you've recently picked up, which means if they just jump him right now, all that sweet boss loot is still on the table. His buddy points out the obvious flaw. Lin Jai soloed a boss, but Rex knows he's barely standing, and a quick eagle eye scan confirms our boy is sitting on a measly 3% HP. So with a smug grin, Rex orders his entire crew to flip on their PvP flags, declaring that Lin Jai might have walked into this instance, but he sure isn't walking out. Meanwhile, Lin Jai is just casually strolling off, counting the 100 copper coins he just earned, knowing each coin is worth a fortune, making his little bag worth over 1,000,000 yuan. Rex sarcastically congratulates Lin Jai, calling him a gullible idiot while admitting he's got some skill, but our boy just calls him out for breaking their deal and kicking him from the party first. Rex immediately tries to spin it, claiming they only stayed back because they had total faith in his strength, even having the nerve to argue they deserve credit for his solo kill just for being there. Just then, a system alert confirms Lin Jai is suffering from a severe post-battle injury. His max HP is cut by 90%, and all his stats are halved until he reaches a safe zone. As Lin Jai stumbles, Rex reveals they're the infamous Rex Rogues, and this is the end of the line. line, whose simple creed is that they kill monsters and have zero problem killing other players too. He explains that cooperation and betrayal are just two sides of the same coin for his crew, then orders his thugs to attack, demanding Lin Jai hand over every last piece of loot. An arrow suddenly zips past Lin Jai's head, a clear warning shot from Rex's crew, and he recognizes the Eagle Eye skill, a hunter's attack that basically never misses its mark, meaning Rex deliberately let it graze him, and Lin Jai wants to know what the hell his point is. Rex's demands are simple. He doesn't just want the boss loot, he wants everything, ordering Lin Jai to strip naked, hand over all his gear, and walk off the hill in total humiliation. The guy is absolutely giddy at the thought of breaking a so-called prodigy down to nothing, ranting about how one lucky boss kill doesn't mean anything in the grand scheme of things, calling him a complete idiot who's still crawling at the very bottom of the food chain. But Lin Jai just raises his sword with a smirk, telling Rex his answer is an obvious no, then informs the stunned bully that he's just a pebble to be crushed on his path to power. Lin Jai tells the stunned bully he won't even bother to remember crushing him underfoot, then dares Rex to come and kill him if he's got the guts, saying he's dying for it. That's all the invitation the absolutely furious Pekier needs to hear, and with a single command, his hunter activates the Eagle Eye skill to finish the job. But just as the arrow flies, Lin Jai calmly pulls out the Chanter Griffin's golden bell, holding it up to meet the guaranteed hit attack head-on, which impacts with a massive golden shockwave that sends the entire crew flying. Rex's goons can only stare in disbelief, finally recognizing the legacy artifact, one of them even asking if the bell somehow makes him completely invincible. But Lin Jai explains it just bought him one single, precious second to breathe. Rex's goon scoffs, asking what good 1 second is when he's about to die anyway, but Lin Jai explains that's all the time he needs to power up a brand new skill, immediately spending his level up point on a warrior exclusive called Last Gasp, a desperation move that not only heals him but can even break his max HP limit, which leaves the thug speechless as his health bar shoots right back to full, and our boy just grins, asking if they want a closer look at his new power. The mage tries to rally his crew, pointing out Lin Jai is still unarmed and vulnerable, but our boy is already a blur of motion, closing the distance in an instant, leaving the thugs completely stunned by his impossible burst of speed. Right before he slams a fist into the hunter's face, starting the real beatdown, he one-shots the hunter with a single punch, sending a shockwave across the battlefield, and Rex's goons can't even process how fast he moved, realizing their archer just got deleted by a guy with no weapon at all. Turns out his grip boost talent gives him a massive unarmed combat buff, so Rex immediately screams for his mage to lock him down with an ice burst. The spell connects, trapping Lin Jai in a solid block of ice, and the mage starts gloating, telling him to enjoy his new ice coffin. But Lin Jai just flexes and shatters the ice prison like it's nothing, his fist now glowing with golden energy as he prepares a serious counterattack, unleashing a massive energy blast shaped like wings right at the terrified mage. The mage is completely losing it, unable to believe his ice burst spell just failed so spectacularly, and Lin Jai calmly explains that with enough raw strength, you can brute force your way out of binds. That logic completely breaks the mage's brain, since Lin Jai's stats are supposed to be halved. He realizes the battle aura swirling around our boy doesn't look reduced in the slightest. Rex orders a stat check, but Lin Jai is already on the move, grabbing the mage by the wrist. He then reminds the terrified spellcaster that he just one-punched their hunter back to the respawn screen. The mage starts panicking, finally realizing he's not dealing with a normal player at all, so he defaults to the oldest excuse in the book, screaming that Lin Jai must be a cheater. That single word triggers something in Lin Jai, his eyes narrowing with a dangerous glint, flashing back to his past life where Bailey stood over him, accusing him of the exact same thing. The flashback reveals Bailey's cold dismissal, telling Lin Jai the fight was already over, while our boy, beaten on the ground, swore he'd never become a monster like him. Back in the present, Lin Jai channels that rage, screaming that only losers cry hacks when they're outmatched, which makes the mage's tough act completely evaporate as he begs for his life. But our boy just says too late, activating his grip boost for the finishing blow, unleashing a massive energy blast that sends the spellcaster flying into oblivion. With the mage deleted, Rex is the last one standing, looking on in stunned silence, and Lin Jai calmly tells him he just threw away his last advantage by letting his team get wiped. But Rex just smirks, revealing he knows exactly how Lin Jai pulled off that comeback, explaining that warriors get stronger when cornered right before pulling out his own daggers. Rex reveals he knows all about the warrior's desperate stand trait, which boosts stats when cornered, but he smugly points out the buff only triggers when surrounded by at least 3 enemies. Since it's a one-on-one, he promises to send Lin Jai back to town with a single clean strike, then reveals he's an executioner, a class built specifically for one-on-one player killing, and convinced he's already won. Rex charges in as their blades clash in a massive shockwave. The two are locked in a high-speed duel, with Rex shocked that Lin Jai can even keep up, but our boy already knows the executioner's big secret is their weak point assault trait. Every single hit applies a different stacking debuff, from blinding headshots to disarming arm strikes, meaning if Lin Jai takes even a single blow, the fight is pretty much over, and Rex is just impressed by his speed, completely unaware Lin Jai is just waiting for an opening. Rex lunges in, gloating that even a single graze from his dagger is a death sentence, confident his stacking debuffs will completely overwhelm Lin Jai in a matter of seconds. While the bully is busy monologuing, our boy decides on a much simpler counter plan, Instead of dodging, he unleashes a massive swing to create some much-needed breathing room. The blow sends Rex stumbling back, completely shocked by Lin Jai's raw power despite the debuff, but he's still convinced he can win a war of attrition, banking on his class advantage. Too bad Lin Jai has zero interest in dragging this out, his body now glowing with power, as he charges forward with a final devastating attack, telling the PK to go repent. That's when Rex realizes he's made a catastrophic, career-ending miscalculation, and just like that, the executioner gets executed, sent straight back to the respawn point. Rex respawns at the town crystal, completely naked and staring at the system alert from Lin Jai, and on top of that, he gets hit with a level penalty while his own crew starts laughing at him. He demands to know what's so funny, so they point out his gear was all stolen from other players. Which means under ERA's brutal loot rules, every single piece he was wearing just dropped on death. The public humiliation sends Rex into a rage, and he swears he's never going to let this go. Meanwhile, Lin Jai confirms that his final slash left behind every single piece of Rex's gear, leaving just one thug, a pure defense build, wondering where his entire party disappeared to. Right before he spots Lin Jai walking toward him, and the tough guy act immediately evaporates. He pulls his sword, desperately trying to look intimidating while telling our boy to stay back, but Lin Jai just tells him to take Rex's clothes back to him before casually walking away. But before leaving, he gives the last thug a parting message to deliver to his boss, promising to hunt them down and kill them until their levels drop all the way to 0. The terrified goon can only stammer out an agreement, completely frozen in place, absolutely sweating bullets from the sheer pressure of our boy's killing intent. He can't even breathe, let alone think about trying to fight back, just clutching his throat as the full weight of that threat sinks in. The moment Lin Ji is gone, the guy collapses to his knees, completely broken. Wondering what kind of monster has power so far beyond stats, it feels like death itself. Realizing he just stared down a literal war god who clawed his way back from hell. And the system agrees, rewarding his anti-PK stance with a massive reputation boost that makes him a living legend in Meltdown. Lin Jai figures getting betrayed was a small price to pay for his new legendary reputation, but as he walks back into Meltdown, he's greeted by 2 full rows of saluting guards, who honor him as the Blade of Dawn, a legacy title the system immediately confirms. The other players are completely stunned, wondering why NPCs are suddenly bowing to a player, and they immediately assume it's some pay-to-win perk before laughing off the idea of wasting cash on a warrior. Lin Jai, however, recognizes the title from a dungeon he explored in his past life, triggering a flashback to the world's ancient history during the long era of Eternal Night. Back then, monsters had nearly wiped out civilization, plunging the entire world into darkness, until a legendary human warrior rose from the ashes, wielding a simple greatsword against the endless hordes. He united all the races for one final battle, becoming the symbol of hope that brought back the dawn. The title is tied to a legendary warrior who became a symbol of hope against the endless night, and it's one of 8 legacy titles from before the game even launched, each representing a heroic epic. Lin Ji recalls the devs hinting these were more than just flavor text, likely tied to hidden achievements. But in his entire past life, no one had ever actually managed to unlock a single one. So he's understandably surprised when the guards start calling him Lord Blade of Dawn, a welcome he wasn't expecting, and the captain explains his righteous deed has moved the entire town, with the guards kneeling in respect. In fact, the mayor himself is so impressed he wants to throw a personal welcome banquet in his honor, which triggers a new side quest. Hero of Meltown, as the captain offers a personal escort. But Lin Jai turns him down, trying to keep a low profile to avoid attracting griefers and other pests. Too bad for him, a shadowy figure is already watching from an alley, completely unimpressed by the hero act. Turns out the shadowy watcher is none other than Rex, who's now vowing to ambush Lin Jai in a dark alley. His goons are a little less enthusiastic, pointing out that maybe picking a fight with the town's new hero is a bad idea. But Rex is all about the clout, arguing that even a bad reputation is still a reputation worth having. His brilliant plan is to kill Lin Jai to impress other PKers, convinced this will make them legends. He then boasts that inside Meltown, he's the one who calls all the shots right before a town guard shows up to remind him that drawing weapons is strictly forbidden. Rex tries to play it off, complaining that meddling NPCs are ruining his fun, a classic player entitlement move. The guard isn't having it, warning Rex they're already watching him because of his malicious player record. Undeterred, Rex just seethes, convinced he can still find a way to get his revenge on Lin Jai, who meanwhile is just casually strolling up to the town hall for his meeting with the mayor. Lin Jai finally arrives at the town hall, stepping into the mayor's personal office, where the man himself immediately greets him with his new title, Lord Blade of Dawn. The mayor, a guy named Green, is practically bouncing with joy that our boy has arrived, gushing about how Lin Jai single-handedly ended the years-long nightmare of the Chanter Griffin, and calling his deed the kind of thing that belongs in the history books for saving the town. Lin Jai remembers this guy from his past life as a grim, joyless NPC worn down by constant attacks, but this time around, the mayor seems healthier and has a completely different personality. To honor his bravery, the mayor announces he has a very special proposal on behalf of the citizens. He wants to erect a massive, solid gold statue of Lin Jai right in the middle of town, so everyone who visits will know his legend and feel the radiance of the Blade of Dawn. Lin Jae immediately shuts down the statue idea, calling it an empty honor that helps no one, and instead offers a counter-proposal with a much bigger, long-term payoff in mind. The mayor is all ears, promising anything from gold to a title to reward his achievement, so Lin Jae points out all the war funds the town saved by him killing the griffin are now free, suggesting they use that cash to permanently lower transaction taxes for all new players, and also to beef up town security, making the starting zone an actual safe haven. The mayor is completely stunned, admitting he's never met a player who cared about anyone but themselves, and he's so humbled by the selfless plan that he agrees to implement it on the spot. A global system notice immediately announces a permanent 50% tax cut in Meltown, which sends the entire player base into a frenzy, praising their mysterious god-tier benefactor. The mayor is so moved by his selflessness, he says Lin Jae has truly brought light to their town, and as a personal thank you, he offers up a glowing golden key as one final reward, which turns out to be the deed to a quiet two-story house on the outskirts of town, officially inviting him to make Meltown his permanent home, leaving Lin Jae completely stunned. A system alert confirms he's the first player in ERA to ever own property, cementing his legacy, and this completely blows his mind, since land ownership in this game is a massive deal, a privilege he knows was basically impossible to get in his last life thanks to the game's AI. ERA isn't some pay-to-win playground where rich players can just buy up entire commercial districts, because in this world, every single plot of land already has an owner, like a system-run city, or even a native tribe that's already laid claim to the territory, making land incredibly scarce. The only way to get land in this game is usually by clearing out a monster's entire treasure hoard, while regular players are stuck just renting out tiny stalls for their business, and even top-tier guilds have to fight tooth and nail for territory they can easily lose. So having a private base this early is a game-breaking advantage for stockpiling and planning, and he gives the mayor a sincere thank you, absolutely loving this unexpected reward. The mayor just beams, saying the town's hero living among them is way better than any statue, which unlocks a ton of insane perks like town teleports, remote auction access, and a permanent discount, a sweet little bonus for being the town's selfless benefactor, and he knows it. As he walks back into town, other players can only stare at the guy who's already a living legend, and with that new discount, he decides it's the perfect time to hit the market and restock. As he's heading to the market, a system alert confirms a successful pickpocket attempt, and just like that, his entire bag of 100 copper coins is gone. The culprit, a smug-looking rogue, celebrates her score a little too early, because our boy is already moving, demanding she hand his money back immediately. He snatches the pouch right out of her hands before she can even react, sarcastically noting that Meltown's security budget could clearly use a boost. Right on cue, a massive guard slams down, screaming for them to stop. But the thief has already ducked into a dead-end alley, completely trapped. Lin Ji blocks the only exit, telling her there's nowhere left to run, only for the level 6 elite to introduce herself, saying that line should be hers. Instead of just one rogue, Lin Ji finds himself surrounded by a whole crew of level 5 thugs. But he just smirks, remembering Meltown has a seedy underbelly most players never see, and he even calls out the lead rogue by name, Shalene, who's surprised he knows his stuff. Turns out he got mugged by these dark alley NPCs so many times in his past life he has their script memorized. Shalene just cuts to the chase, revealing someone paid for his head and she's here to collect. So Lin Jai calmly runs through his very short list of enemies, trying to guess who hired her. He asks her directly which one of his new rivals wants him dead so badly, and she just gives him a smug look, calling him Blade of Dawn and saying the answer is obvious. Our boy immediately realizes it's Rex, scoffing that the coward is too scared to face him again. But Shalene couldn't care less about player drama, explaining she's just an NPC doing her job for cash. With a single command from Shalene, her entire crew of thugs immediately charges in for the kill, and Lin Ji finds himself surrounded by a flurry of blades as the NPCs close in from all sides. One of the goons leaps in for a flashy overhead strike, which our boy effortlessly parries, sending the attacker flying back with a single perfectly timed block that shatters the pavement. The thug hits the ground hard, completely taken out of the fight by Lin Jai's casual defense, and Shalene seems genuinely impressed by the display, even giving him a slow, sarcastic clap. Lin Jai just stares her down, basically daring her to be the next one to try her luck, but she's already done the math, realizing the medical bills for her crew would outweigh any profit. So she calls off the attack, admitting her thugs are no match for the Blade of Dawn, because it turns out even NPC assassins have to worry about their bottom line, a fact she's very stressed about. Shalene tells Lin Jai she'll just report to Rex that he was too tough, calling the job a bust, and as she walks away, she even offers him a favor next time he's in her territory. But our boy isn't about to let her just walk off with his cash, stopping her cold. The rogue turns back, clearly not expecting him to push his luck any further, and Lin Jai just holds out his hand, demanding she return the coin pouch she stole. Shalene is not amused, reminding him she was being generous generous by letting him live at all, and now she's declaring his money as her fee for not finishing the job. Too bad for her. Lin Jai's eyes start glowing as he resigns he earned every coin, powering up with a golden aura and telling her she'll have to earn it the hard way. So she just grins, her own blade igniting as she decides to take his bounty and his cash. Shalene lunges forward with her glowing dagger, ready to clash with Lin Jai's massive greatsword, and their blades collide in a massive shockwave that sends sparks flying through the alley. As their weapons grind together, she easily holds her ground against his powerful swing, even smugly pointing out that he's just wrecking his own sword's durability with this move. But Lin Jai realizes something's wrong. In his past life, Shalene was just a regular black market NPC, who now offers to lend him cash for a new weapon because he's easy on the eyes. He can't figure out why her personality is so much more dramatic in this new timeline, but he declares that even if he has to fight barehanded, he's not backing down, absolutely refusing to let her get away with stealing from him after trying to kill him. Shalene just finds his tough guy act amusing, calling his threat completely old school. Shalene decides she's not in a good mood, ready for some up-close and personal fall fun, and with a sadistic grin, she orders her boys to give him a proper welcome party. Her entire crew of thugs immediately starts cheering from the sidelines, totally convinced she'll win, with the whole peanut gallery absolutely certain their boss has this in the bag. As they hype her up from the rooftops, Shalene faces off against Lin Jai in the alley, suddenly exploding forward in a blur of purple energy, closing the distance in an instant and appearing right in his face while calling him way too slow to keep up with her. Lin Jai is clearly caught off guard by her insane speed, barely able to track her movements, so before he can even react, she unleashes a lightning-fast combo, moving like a phantom and lands a solid punch right across his face, leaving him stunned by her raw power. The punch sends Lin Jai flying, and he's genuinely shocked by her raw, unadulterated power, admitting to himself that this NPC is way stronger than he ever remembered from his past life. But he's already pushing off the ground, launching himself right back into the fray without hesitation. Shalene just taunts him about her last hit as their fists collide in a flash of light, and he barely dodges a follow-up strike. With her sarcastically pretending it was a near miss, she compliments his reflexes before grabbing his arm, ready to end this little dance. But our boy's eyes start glowing as he catches her fist mid-swing, stopping her cold. His hand now crackles with her own energy, completely neutralizing her attack on contact, and he declares the fun is over before blasting her back with a massive shockwave. Lin Jai just stands there, crackling with power, leaving the stunned rogue to reconsider her life choices. Shalene just smirks, finding his sudden power-up more interesting than threatening, and Lin Jai admits that without a weapon, he can't win quickly, asking if this is really worth her time. He warns her that if they keep fighting, she's going to lose a lot more than she'll gain, which just makes her burst out laughing, calling him one hell of a funny guy, before suddenly changing her mind, deciding she's completely lost the mood for this. She tosses his coin pouch back, saying a full-blown fight over chump change is a waste of her time, and with her crew watching, she decides to call it a day and go make some real money. With a final later pretty boy, she walks off, leaving Lin Jai to wonder what her deal is. But as he holds the pouch, he realizes it feels a lot heavier than it should, and opening it up, he finds a mysterious glowing orb instead of his hard-earned cash. He inspects the orb, only to get a system message from Shalene calling it a welcome gift, and she's already looking forward to working together, a proposal that just confuses him. Before he can even process that, the creepy eyeball starts glowing with an intense blue light, which immediately shoots a beam of energy straight into his face, because of course it does. The blast sends him reeling in pain, clutching his head as the power floods his senses, and a system alert confirms he just got a legacy artifact, the Eye of True Sight. Turns out the weird gift lets him see through illusions, a bonus drop he's never even heard of before, which just confirms that this new timeline is way more interesting than the one he remembers. With his new powers and a fresh perspective, he heads back into the bustling town market, wondering what other hidden treasures he can dig up in this unpredictable new world. At the market, a vendor tries to offload a heap of blackstone ore for a single copper coin, but Lin Jai just stares at the junk, knowing exactly what he's looking at, a completely worthless mineral that's the most common trash in the entire game. He remembers how everyone hates the stuff because it's so useless it just takes up inventory space, but just as he's about to walk away, his new Eye of True Sight suddenly activates on its own, and his eye starts glowing, automatically scanning the pile of supposedly worthless rocks. It immediately hones in on one specific crystal that looks completely different from the others, revealing it's actually a rare starlight stone hidden among the junk, much to his surprise. Our boy is completely floored, realizing his new artifact is way more broken than he ever imagined. So with a smug grin, he casually tosses the vendor a coin, snagging a hidden treasure on his first try. The vendor is practically begging Lin Jai to buy his junk, desperate to make a sale. He can't believe his luck, praising our boy's excellent taste for picking the one valuable rock, and as the guy celebrates scamming a sucker, Lin Jai walks off with his one copper treasure. He casually cracks the worthless outer shell, revealing the flawless starlight stone inside, a gem so well hidden that normal appraisal skills can't even detect its true nature. Our boy figures he could flip it to an NPC for a quick hundredfold profit right now. But he knows its real value comes from grinding it down into a rare alchemy reagent. See, in ERA, players can pick up all sorts of life skills like blacksmithing or tailoring, and most people just dabble in them for fun between their usual grinding sessions. But Lin Jai knows there's one profession that's a massive exception to that rule, and he's all in. Turns out the one profession he's eyeing, alchemy, is a total death trap for most players, with a failure rate so high the game literally tells you that you've just killed yourself. So he pulls up the market prices, checking to see just how bad the economy is for alchemists, and finds that a standard healing potion sells for a measly 10 copper coins a pop. The real kicker is that the official recipe's ingredients actually cost more than the final product, and that's before you even factor in the 60% failure rate that doubles the real cost. It's a system designed to make players bleed cash, which is why most alchemists are broke. But Lin Ji knows something they don't: a few hidden recipes from his past life. Even with that knowledge, he was always stuck because a key ingredient was impossible to find. But thanks to that Starlight Stone, he's now holding the key to making an absolute fortune. Of course, our boy's every move is now being watched by a couple of wannabe investors, who are convinced his title means he's a beta tester with all the market secrets. So one of them immediately gets scammed into buying a whole stack of worthless rocks, which causes the original vendor to panic, thinking he just undersold a hidden treasure. Lin Jai, completely oblivious, just gathers the rest of his cheap ingredients for a big potion batch, then casually crushes his Starlight Stone, producing the flawless powder he actually needs. His new fan club sees this and immediately assumes he crushed the junk ore they all bought, convinced it's the secret ingredient to some high-tier recipe they're about to steal, so they gleefully grind their own rocks into useless dust, thinking they've struck gold. Meanwhile, our boy starts brewing, knowing the leaf essence he's using is normally total garbage. He adds the Starlight powder to the leaf essence, knowing it's the secret to supercharging the cheap herb juice. But the recipe isn't finished, so he strolls towards the town square with his little experiment. His fan club sees him heading for the fountain, immediately assuming he's starting some grand ritual, convinced he needs a special site to craft his legendary item, a real stroke of genius. Right before he just dunks the flask in the fountain and fills it up with regular water, the mixture instantly transforms into a vibrant green potion, much to everyone's surprise. And a system alert confirms he just crafted a completely standard medium healing potion. Lin Jai is perfectly satisfied with the result, while his audience is absolutely stunned, calling him a counterfeiter for making a potion that looks exactly like the store-bought version. But he just ignores them and starts mass-producing the stuff, flooding his log with success messages. He successfully cranks out 100 potions in one go, even ranking up his alchemy skill. Our boy just smirks, knowing his past life knowledge is about to make him absolutely filthy rich, and the second he sets up shop, players swarm him, desperate for potions after the store sold out. Just 1 hour later, he's completely cleaned out, not a single bottle left to sell. Turns out undercutting the official store by a single copper coin creates an absolute feeding frenzy, and just like that, his initial 100 copper has ballooned into 1,060 minutes flat. Lin Jai is pretty pleased with himself, having multiplied his Griffin reward by 10 times over. Meanwhile, his fan club realizes he's legit and now think he's exploiting a secret beta recipe, so one of them tries to copy the process with his junk ore, convinced alchemy is easy money, only to create a vial of toxic sewage, leaving him baffled at how he failed so spectacularly. The failed alchemist tries to pawn off his toxic sludge, claiming it's just a special healing potion, but his potential customer calls his bluff, telling him to prove it by drinking the stuff himself. And just like that, a system alert confirms the player just deleted himself with his own creation. The sudden death sends the town square into a panic, with everyone wondering what just happened, while Lin Jai just shakes his head, knowing the curse of alchemy, claims another victim without a recipe. With his own pockets full, he decides it's time to log off and handle his massive pile of cash. He finishes exchanging the currency, ready to see what his first day's work is really worth. Back in the real world, he logs out in his modest apartment, the game's helmet on his desk, revealing the exchange rate is a staggering 10,000 yuan for a single copper coin. And a quick check confirms he just made 5 million yuan, a life-changing score for day one. Lin Ji's real-world victory lap is cut short by some loud banging on his apartment door, and before he can even react, the whole thing bursts open, revealing a group of thugs led by a very familiar-looking blonde guy demanding this month's rent. His mother and sister are caught completely off guard, with his mom pointing out it's not even due yet. Turns out the leader was going to wait, but he just lost 1 million yuan in ERA, and now he's decided Lin Ji's family is the perfect punching bag to make himself feel better. His mom pleads with them, explaining they don't have the cash and just need a few more days. But the thug just scoffs, clearly not in the mood for any sob stories. So one of his goons immediately grabs Lin Ji's sister, Shikshi, to speed things along, while the leader just smirks as their mom screams in terror, enjoying the absolute chaos. The thug leader gets personal, making a disgusting threat about selling Lin Ji's sister for cash, all while mocking our boy for hiding away and playing video games like a useless bum, even suggesting he'd be more valuable if they just harvested and sold his organs instead, which is his brilliant plan for recouping the million yuan he just lost in ERA, right before Lin Jai calmly steps out, asking if 1 million is all he needs, a question the entire crew finds hilarious, convinced he's just putting on a brave face. He shows them a transfer confirmation, but but the boss just scoffs, calling it a cheap fake. So Lin Jai, with a death glare, tells the guy to go ahead and check his own phone. Even his own family is stunned, his sister asking if he robbed a bank for the money, while the thugs crowd around their boss's phone, counting the zeros in disbelief. The thugs' goons are absolutely floored, confirming the 1 million yuan transfer is completely legit, but their leader grabs Lin Jai, refusing to believe a shut-in gamer could have that kind of cash, and he's absolutely furious, demanding to know how our boy can just throw around 1 million yuan. So Lin Jai just smirks, admitting he's a loser who can only make money by playing games. That just makes the guy even angrier, since he just lost 1 million in that very same game, so he decides the money is compensation for his loss, pulling a knife to make it official, but Lin Jai just stares him down, calmly calling out his pathetic attempt at extortion. Before the thug can even blink, our boy snatches his wrist, moving with impossible speed, warning him that he's good at a lot more than just playing video games. And with a sickening crack, he breaks the guy's arm, finally getting recognized as the gamer brat. The thug leader is absolutely furious, but Lin Jai just confirms the money is 100% genuine. His goons try to rush in, but our boy tells them to freeze, still holding their boss's broken arm. Suddenly, the tough guy act evaporates, and the leader is begging to talk it out like they're old friends. But Lin Jai's eyes glow with pure menace, questioning when exactly they became so chummy. The leader is completely terrified, realizing the kid's presence is absolutely suffocating him, feeling like he's staring down a demon as Lin Jai asks if he's done trying to extort them. He immediately starts backpedaling, calling it a huge misunderstanding now that the debt is paid. He even turns to his crew for backup, who can only stammer out a terrified agreement. With a final chilling glare, Lin Jai tells every single one of them to get out of his house. And just like that, the entire crew scrambles for the exit, not daring to waste another second. With the thugs gone, Lin Ji's family is left standing in a very awkward, stunned silence, until his sister Shishi finally snaps, grabbing his arm and demanding to know what's going on. She even yells a final threat down at the fleeing goons, who swear they'll never come back. But with the immediate drama over, she turns right back to him, wanting a full explanation. Our boy tries to play dumb, asking what exactly she thinks there is to explain, but Shishi is not buying his innocent act for a single second, demanding he spill the beans. She asks how a hidden rich guy suddenly appeared in their family, leaving him sweating for an excuse. His mom joins the interrogation, also wanting to know where all this money came from, and now both of them are staring him down, waiting for some kind of answer. But Lin Jai just smiles, thinking to himself how great it is that his sister is alive and well. He flashes back to his past life, where his family was drowning in debt after his dad died, and with his sister also seriously ill, he had no choice but to try and support them all. Unfortunately, every single job interview ended with the classic, "We'll call you brush off," leaving him completely broke and with absolutely zero prospects for the future. That's when he saw a guy in a ridiculous dragon suit promoting the new game, ERA promising a world of adventure and, more importantly, a chance to make a fortune. The idea of making real money just by playing a game was the only hope he had left, so he jumped in with the sole purpose of grinding for cash, starting as a level 3 warrior. Right away, a coin-farming party captain asks if he's the kind of guy who isn't afraid to die, offering him a grand total of 2 copper coins for a single dungeon run. So with no other choice, he took the deal, becoming a disposable frontliner for chump change. Every single dungeon run was a near-death experience, but surviving was the only way to get paid. His insane ability to stay alive quickly got noticed by his party captain, who even joked that our boy was so unkillable it almost looked like he was cheating. But the reality was just Lin Jai, battered and bloody, pushing through sheer willpower alone, and for all his trouble, he gets a generous bonus of a single extra copper coin. The party then just walks off, telling him to be ready for the next meat grinder run, leaving him to clutch his pathetic earnings while watching them go. But this constant dance with death was forging him into an absolute combat machine, until he was so skilled he'd be the last one standing, even soloing bosses after his team wiped. As his skills matured, Lin Jai's new dream was to become the strongest player through pure talent, a path that would let him earn money and finally protect the people who mattered most. Later on, he even met a like-minded brother in arms who shared his ambition, a guy named Bailey Greatwall, and the two of them made a promise to each other, swearing they'd become the best in their classes before a final duel to see who was stronger. Lin Jai became a legend, the undying war god who broke into the top 10 rankings among whales, and his appearance fees skyrocketed, solving his family's money problems until one fateful battle, where some shady agent suddenly tells him he has to throw the most important match of his life. Lin Jai is furious, arguing he has everything it takes to claim the title of the strongest, and winning this last fight means 100 million in prize money, enough to cure his sister's illness. Lin Jai absolutely explodes, refusing to just throw away the most important fight of his life. But the agent lays it out cold. The finals are a rich man's game, and a nobody can't beat their prized investment. The final gut punch is that his opponent is none other than his best friend, Bailey Greatwall. Lin Jai refuses to believe his friend would be part of the fix, knowing Bailey understands what's at stake. He's more determined than ever, vowing to bet everything he has to defeat his rival and win. The agent just scoffs, warning him that the sponsors will make sure he loses one way or another. He even tries to sell it as a mercy, saying it's better to quit than be publicly crushed. As Lin Jai walks away, the agent points out that Bailey's powerful family means he can always recover from a loss But for a guy like Lin Jae, one fall is the end of the line, right before his phone rings. It's his mom telling him Zishi's life support failed and the hospital says there's nothing left to do. The phone slips from his hand as the memory of his sister's death in his past life hits him hard. In that timeline, losing her completely shattered him, leaving him with absolutely nothing left to fight for. But back in the present, a very much alive Zishi snaps him out of it, asking why he's crying, and he quickly wipes his face, putting on a brave smile and insisting he's just overcome with joy. She's not buying his sudden mood swings, but he just asks if she believes he can make money now. He gives her a flimsy excuse about a lucky mystery box, promising their lives are about to get better. Shishi gets so excited she tries to snatch his gaming helmet to see the money-making magic for herself, but the scene shifts, reminding us that every player has their own reasons for logging into ERA. Some fight for glory, some for dreams, and others just want to escape the real world for a while. But for Lin Jie, his reason has always been brutally simple: to become the absolute strongest. Lin Jie remembers his past life, where players at the bottom had to trade their lives for cash, and behind every so-called miracle survival was a desperate reason to keep on living, a drive to become the strongest and protect the people who mattered most to him. So with that goal firmly in mind, he heads straight to an official ERA store for a serious upgrade. He immediately eyes the top-of-the-line Supreme Thunder rig, with its casual 1 million yuan price tag, knowing in his last life he could only afford a model 2 tiers below this one and only late game. Meanwhile, his old rival Bailey was rocking this exact same professional setup from day one, of course, which is when the store clerk recognizes him, asking if the entry-level model isn't good enough anymore. Lin Jai just calmly tells the guy he's here to upgrade to the Supreme Thunder, no big deal, leaving the clerk completely stunned, telling him that rig is for top-tier pros, not some random kid. Just as the clerk is telling him to dream on, some rich guy cuts in to offer the same condescending advice. The newcomer, who is clearly Rex, tells the clerk he's buying the Supreme Thunder rig, full payment up front. And just like that, the clerk's attitude does a complete 180, fawning over young Master Rex and his impeccable taste. Lin Jai instantly recognizes the voice, realizing his in-game nemesis has just walked through the door. Turns out Rex is still seething over his loss, blaming it on getting scammed by some other player. He's so busy complaining to the clerk that he would have won with a better setup, he doesn't even look up, until he finally raises his head and realizes who he's been ranting to the entire time. Rex absolutely loses his mind, demanding to know why Lin Ji is suddenly everywhere he goes. Our boy just calmly asks if he's already forgotten their last encounter and wants another beating. Rex regains his composure, smugly pointing out that his hired NPC assassin clearly failed the job. Rex and his crew corner Lin Jai, smugly reminding him this is the real world where money talks, but one of his own goons immediately roasts him for saying the exact same thing in Meltown, and they're still convinced Lin Jai only won because he cheated, figuring a 3-on-1 is a sure thing. The poor store clerk is just begging them not to wreck his shop, because business is already hard enough, even telling Lin Jai to just kneel and apologize so he doesn't have to pay for the damages. Lin Jai calmly tells Rex to leave the game drama behind, saying he was ready to let it all go, which is the exact wrong thing to say because Rex pulls a knife, ready to reclaim his dignity. His lackeys are still whining about the levels they lost, as if that's a real-world problem, so Rex is done talking and lunges forward, ready to end this with a blade, but Lin Jai's eye-fi flares with blue light as he activates some kind of time-altering ability. As Rex lunges, time seems to slow to a crawl for Lin Jai, a familiar sensation. Turns out 5 years of hellish combat in ERA didn't just train his avatar, it rewired his brain, boosting his reaction speed and muscle reflexes to superhuman levels, a permanent upgrade. So now, even in the real world, every fight plays out in glorious slow motion for him, which lets him casually sidestep Rex's pathetic knife attack like it's a choreographed dance move. Rex can't believe his eyes, wondering how our boy is cheating in real life too, right before Lin Jai plants a solid right hook straight across his jaw, a beautiful sight. He then calmly informs the downed rich boy that real life doesn't have cheat codes, before turning to the 2 remaining goons and telling them to attack together since he's busy. But his backup immediately bails, telling their boss they'll just wait for him outside, a wise choice. With Rex on the floor, Lin Jai calmly pays for the 1 million yuan Supreme Thunder rig in full, leaving the store clerk completely baffled that anyone could earn that much just from playing a game. The payment goes through, and our boy walks out with his new pro setup like it's just another Tuesday. But just as he's about to leave, he's suddenly stopped by a familiar face from Rex's crew, the green-haired goon who was smart enough to stay out of the fight a minute ago. Lin Jai immediately recognizes him, asking why he didn't rush in with his so-called buddies. And the guy is clearly terrified, stammering as he tries to find the right words. Struggling to get his thoughts together before finally blurting out his real reason for being there, he shouts that he wants to get stronger, begging Lin Jai for help, much to our boy's surprise. Lin Jai just gives him a curious look, intrigued by this sudden and very unexpected request. The green-haired goon introduces himself as Hawk, a paladin, and immediately starts groveling to the Blade of Dawn, getting straight to the point and practically screaming that he wants to be Lin Jai's disciple. Lin Jai just scoffs at the idea, telling the guy he has zero interest in teaching anyone, but Hawk isn't taking no for an answer, physically grabbing our boy and pleading to be heard. Turns out seeing Lin Jai fight like a war god gave him a serious reality check about true power, and he confesses that he only picked his flashy, scorching retribution talent because he was terrified. The guy admits he was too scared to be on the front lines, hiding his cowardice behind hollow special effects, and now that he knows he's a failure, he's desperate to become as powerful as Lin Ji. Our boy still shuts him down, saying he's not taking disciples while thinking Hawk has no clue what really happened. Still, he helps the guy up, offering a vague maybe someday to keep him from totally breaking down. Hawk desperately clings to that sliver of hope, asking if this means he still has a chance. And Lin Jai just leaves him with some advice, saying that facing his weakness is the first step, adding that with the game updating to a new version, he'll be watching to see how he improves. The kid is absolutely fired up, swearing he'll prove himself worthy of being a disciple, and as Lin Jai walks off, he realizes this new timeline is diverging in ways he never foresaw. Back in his room, he wastes no time at all putting on his brand new Supreme Thunder rig, and with a flash of blue light, he logs right back into the world of ERA. He spawns in a grassy field, standing right in front of a very familiar-looking house. Realizing the game update must have set his new home as the default login location, so with the key in hand, he opens the door, officially ready to start his new life. The moment Lin Jai steps inside, a system alert confirms the latest update just unlocked house renovations, letting him freely customize the building and the massive 500-meter plot of land it sits on. He learns that higher reputation expands his territory, a feature he never knew existed since he was broke last time. But for now, the place is completely empty and basically unlivable in its current state. A renovation menu immediately pops up, offering luxury furniture for an absolutely criminal amount of silver, and he realizes the mayor's gift was just a bare-bones money pit designed to drain his wallet. But after a moment of consideration, our boy just smirks, clearly having a change of heart, and instantly furnishes the place, deciding the nice view is worth the cost since he'll just earn it back. Just as he's getting comfortable, he suddenly hears a knock at his brand new front door, leaving him to wonder who could possibly be visiting him out here in his new private domain. He cautiously opens the door to his new house, wondering who could possibly be visiting, and finds none other than Shalene, casually greeting him by his Blade of Dawn title. Lin Jai immediately realizes this is terrible news, already regretting his decision to answer. She just teases him about being old friends, wondering why he looks so unwelcoming. Turns out her real name is Xia Lian, the undisputed boss of Meltown's entire criminal underworld. See, players who get red names from malicious PvP are banned from most public areas, but underworld NPCs like her are the exception to that rule, offering a safe haven and special services to outlaws, for a very hefty price, of course. She offers him a money-making job, but our boy immediately turns her down, not interested in her quests. That's when she shoves the door open, insisting he's the only one in town who can do it. She gets comfortable in his new house, explaining a man-eating beast has appeared at Westwind Ridge, and Lin Jai just stares at the door, completely unimpressed by this sudden home invasion. But she insists the monster is so strong it's already eaten several of her subordinates. Our boy immediately calls her bluff, asking why her townie thugs were wandering so far out, so she dodges the question and offers him a measly 100 copper coins for the job. He just snatches an apple from her and counters with a new price of 10 silver coins, which makes Shalene absolutely lose it, screaming that he just jacked up the price 100-fold. But Lin Jai just kicks his feet up, reminding her that he gets to set the price here. She argues she could hire every player in town for that much, wondering why she'd ever need him, and he just smirks, offering to guess the real reason she's so desperate for his help. Shalene just smirks, finding his confidence interesting and telling him to go ahead and spill it. So Lin Jai reveals her secret treasure vault is in a hidden dungeon at Westwind Ridge, and now that it's overrun with monsters, she can't find anyone to retrieve her stolen loot, casually guessing the stash is worth way more than 10 silver, probably hundreds of gold coins. She's completely floored, demanding to know how a novice player could possibly know any of this. But our boy just thinks to himself that as a reborn player, no NPC's secret is safe from him. He remembers how in his past life her vault became a server-wide treasure hunt after Meltown fell, a future where she killed so many players she was eventually hunted down and became a legend. But bring it back to the present, he tells her they need to discuss that stolen money, threatening to tell the mayor everything and wondering if she'll even live to see the next update. Shalene immediately panics, convinced the mayor is about to shut down her entire operations, and she whines that 10 silver is an impossible price for someone who loves money as much as life itself. So Lin Jai flips the script, offering to handle her monster problem completely free of charge, which makes her entire personality shift, her eyes turning to gold coins at the mere mention of free. But his real price is way steeper. He wants her to give up her title as manager of the Dark Street. Our boy remembers that in his past life, this version of Shalene is completely different from the original NPC. See, her story was just a minor side quest after the demon chanter Griffin invaded Meltown, and back then, she surrendered after Griffin killed the mayor, choosing to become his loyal accomplice. She fully embraced her new role as a villain boss, right up until players finally took her down for good. But this time, she's not surrendering, instead ordering her crew to give him a welcome ceremony. Shalene smirks, admitting it'd be tough to take him down quickly without her blade drawn, and she calls this little deathmatch a meeting gift, already looking forward to their cooperation. Lin Jai just realizes she's a battle junkie, a tiny change that could completely derail the future. But before she can even attack, Shalene is suddenly screaming in absolute disbelief because our boy's eye of true sight just activated, letting him see right through her lies. She's furious. He's using the very gift she gave him to read her like an open book, revealing he knows her treasure is so vital she'd sacrifice everything just to protect it. So she draws her sword, finally giving him some respect as a genuine big shot. But Lin-Jae just reminds her this is his house, and he's the only one who can help. She finally caves, admitting that treasure is her retirement fund before officially giving him the quest. As Lin-Jae heads out towards Westwind Ridge, he's already having second thoughts, wondering if his brain got slammed in a door for accepting a quest with zero pay. With the quest officially accepted, Shalene marks the location on his map, but just as he's about to leave, she stops him, demanding he hand something over. She immediately gets defensive, thinking he's trying to shake her down for cash, but our boy just clarifies he's here to collect on a different kind of debt, her weapon. He reminds her she still owes him a new sword after she shattered his last one, and Shalene just smirks, claiming she's not a sword user and only deals in blades. She then summons a ridiculously oversized greatsword called the Night Roaming Ghost. But Lin-Jae is completely unfazed, saying if it's got an edge, it's a sword to him. Lin-Jae gets a feel for his new greatsword, which is way heavier than it looks, and a quick check reveals it has a nasty habit of destroying any weapon below legacy tier. He gives it a quick test swing, slicing through some thorny vines with absolute ease, then heads to Westwind Ridge, glad Shalene marked the entrance on his map for him. It's not long before he spots the so-called man-eating beast he was sent to hunt, which turns out to be a completely underwhelming level 1 boar, of all things. Our boy is understandably confused by this incredibly non-threatening monster, but just shrugs it off, figuring it's nothing more than a walking pile of ingredients. So he winds up for a casual swing, completely unprepared for what happens next, because the boar suddenly explodes, sending a massive shockwave that blasts him off his feet. Blasted off his feet, Lin-Jae realizes the exploding boar was just the opening act, because he's now staring up something absolutely massive, a level 8 black dragon, which the game helpfully points out is 6 levels above him, and the dragon itself seems to agree, mocking the foolish human who dared to approach. Just then, Shalene calls in from her bubble bath, casually asking if he's found the monster yet. He accuses her of sending him to die, but she explains bringing a party would just make the boss stronger, adding that she's fought him herself and knows he's way more powerful than his level suggests. That makes Lin-Jae realize a level 8 boss in a newbie zone is a serious anomaly, but Shalene just reminds him he soloed the griffin, so this dragon should be totally doable, right? Our boy isn't so sure, knowing a 6-level gap is still a death sentence for most players. He's seriously questioning if pure skill alone can bridge the massive power gap against a level 8 boss. And the dragon Zodiac immediately launches into a classic villain speech with 2 generous choices, offering him the chance to either die horribly or kneel and become another one of its minions. But Lin-Jae just waves him off, casually saying he's only here to deliver an eviction notice, which of course sends the dragon into a spitting rage over his complete lack of respect. Zodiac claims the vault is his, while our boy just mocks how perfectly the game nailed every dragon stereotype. So with the monologue over, the dragon finally locks on, ready to punish the intruder. That makes Lin-Jae remember it took a full 8-man party to kill a similar dragon in his past life, and while his experience is top tier, he knows his current level 2 body is just way too weak. Right as Zodiac unleashes a massive fire breath attack, engulfing him completely, Lin-Jae dodges the flames, realizing Shalene has played him for a fool yet again, and he narrowly avoids a follow-up attack, his massive sword scraping the ground as he repositions. But he's already analyzing the boss, knowing any of its 4 main attacks will instantly kill him, while the dragon swoops down, absolutely furious that this tiny human is still standing. Our boy just watches for the tells, knowing every move has a subtle windup before the real damage comes. He reads the body language like a book, dodging a bite that would have snapped him in half, and then he spots the opening he's been waiting for, a half-second window after the claw strike. As the massive claw misses, that exact half-second of vulnerability finally opens up, so with perfect timing, he lunges forward, ready to land a devastating counterattack. He connects with a massive swing, only for the system to tell him he dealt 0 damage. Zodiac is absolutely livid that its attacks keep missing, roaring at the tiny human who dares to defy it, so it lunges forward with a bite attack. So fast our boy knows there's no way to dodge it, forcing him to activate a last-ditch defensive skill called Golden Bell in a total panic, which thankfully manages to block the dragon's jaws just as they clamp down on him. The beast immediately recoils, spitting out the Golden Bell like it just bit into a rock, leaving Zodiac completely baffled as to what that thing even was. Lin-Jae barely survived thanks to that one-time use item, knowing he needs a new plan since he can't dent its armor. The dragon mocks him for running out of tricks before charging up another massive attack, which our boy instantly recognizes as the Dragon Breath Sweep, a cone of fire impossible to avoid head-on. But while most players back away, Lin-Jae knows that only makes it deadlier, so he charges straight in. He dives straight into the dragon's fire breath, knowing the only safe spot is right up close, because the only safe distance is actually 0, a lesson he's about to teach with his sword. Zodiac is completely stunned by his speed, wondering how a level 2 player is moving so impossibly fast, and Lin-Jae lands a perfect strike on its neck, only for the system to confirm he dealt 0 damage. He's absolutely furious, since this supposedly legendary weapon can't even scratch the boss's armor, while the dragon just laughs, realizing our boy is all bark and no bite, calling him a piece of trash. That's when Shalene chimes in on a call, casually mentioning the sword is a little shy with strangers, leaving Lin Jai to absolutely lose his mind, screaming at her for dropping this vital info mid-boss fight. She explains it's a legacy weapon with a personality, so unacknowledged users can't use its full power. So while dodging a dragon, he demands to know how exactly he's supposed to get this sword's approval. Shalene explains over the call that he has to prove he's faced life or death trials to win the sword's respect. And while running along the dragon's back, Lin Jai figures he's seen some weird unlock conditions before. But when it comes to cheating death, he's a seasoned pro, giving the beast a confident flip-off. Zodiac takes that personally, charging up another dragon breath sweep to finally end this annoyance, and as the massive fire blast erupts, our boy once again dives straight into the inferno. He uses the force of the explosion to launch himself high into the air, turning the attack into a boost, now perfectly positioned to aim for the one legendary weak spot on the dragon's neck, the mythical reverse scale, the only part of its armor that's actually vulnerable. With perfect timing, he brings the greatsword down in a devastating slash right on target, and the blade finally connects with a solid hit, sending the massive dragon reeling back in pain. The dragon just laughs off the hit, mocking our boy for thinking that little scratch was enough, so as Lin Jai lands, he's already bracing for the next attack from the airborne boss. That's when he remembers the minor detail that, right, dragons can actually fly. His grip tightens as a red aura flares, channeling a surge of power into his greatsword. Shalene immediately starts screaming over the call that the dragon is using its dragon breath dive, an attack she's absolutely certain his low-level body has zero chance of surviving. But Lin Jai knows this sword only respects those unafraid of death, as the dragon charges up, so he declares that this legendary blade should be practically worshipping him by now, unleashing a massive burst of power as he prepares to meet the attack head-on. He's not just some player, he's the god of war returned from hell, and he's about to prove it. The sword finally acknowledges him, unlocking a hidden armor destruction ability just in time, so with his new power, he launches himself straight into the air to meet the dragon head-on, leaving Shalene completely floored that he managed to unlock a legacy weapon's power so quickly. For the very first time, the dragon actually feels a genuine sense of danger from the human below, and it roars in absolute fury, questioning what right this despicable mortal has to challenge it, vowing to make Lin Jai die in agony as it soars higher into the sky for its final attack. But our boy knows this is his one and only chance, convinced a single perfect strike will end it, while Zodiac just mocks his foolish choice, charging up a massive fire blast to finish him off, pointing out that by leaping into the air, he's completely thrown away his last chance to dodge. And Lin Jai is fully aware that the slightest mistake in this attack means falling straight into hell. With the dragon's attack reflected in his eye, Lin Jai bets his entire life on this one perfect moment, meeting the massive fire blast head-on with a single all-or-nothing swing of his greatsword, putting absolute obsessive faith into his weapon, his body, and his sheer force of will. The dragon screams for him to die, unleashing a torrent of fire to wipe him from existence. But as the two attacks are about to collide, he knows this is the only thing he can trust, because in this high-stakes gamble, he's absolutely convinced victory is the only possible outcome. The entire world is engulfed in a massive explosion of light as the two forces finally meet, and when the blast clears, the dragon has been sliced clean in half mid-air, its massive body crashing down into the forest below in a very permanent kind of way. A system notification confirms the kill as Lin Jai lands, already sheathing his sword like a total boss. The system immediately rewards him with a massive 500% EXP bonus for taking down a legendary boss, which instantly rockets him from level 2 all the way to level 5 in a single glorious moment. He also unlocks the Dragon Slayer title, making lesser dragons flee and high-tier ones respect him, and it even boosts his crit rate against dragon weak spots, a perk he'll definitely be using later. Just as he's admiring his new level, Shalene calls in, still completely losing her mind over the kill, demanding to know how he one-shotted a dragon, but our boy is just playing it cool. He explains that he used her Eye of True Sight to lock onto the dragon's reverse scale, which triggered an ultra-critical hit that stacked with his sword's armor-piercing damage bonus, and all those multipliers combined were more than enough to wipe out the dragon's entire health bar. Shalene is still baffled, asking how he could bet everything on so many low-probability buffs activating at once. Our boy just smirks, knowing this is the path of a pure skill master, leaving Shalene completely speechless. And since he jumped straight to level 5, he's got a ton of extra stat points to spend. He pulls up his character sheet, ready to build the perfect glass cannon warrior from the ground up. First things first, he dumps a massive amount of points into strength for that sweet two-handed damage. He throws a single pity point into endurance, just enough to not get instantly deleted by a boss. But for a guy who relies on pure mechanics, agility is way more important, so he maxes that out next, deciding to forget his weaknesses and just push his strengths to their absolute terrifying limit. With his new stats locked in, our boy is feeling a whole lot stronger and ready for what's next. He realizes he can't rely on reflexes forever, so he opens his skill tree to pick some new toys. And his first choice is the high-risk, high-reward Berserk skill, perfect for his all-or-nothing style. He's already planning ahead, since Berserk is the main prerequisite for the advanced Berserker class. For his second point, he upgrades grip enhancement, giving him the power to literally disarm weaker opponents. But when it comes to his third and final skill point, he makes a very unexpected choice. He picks throw, and Shalene immediately calls him out for picking such a trash agility-based skill. Lin Jai just calmly admits that if you only read the description, the ability does seem pretty useless. Turns out most warriors can't even learn it early on because it requires agility they just don't have. And besides, chucking your only weapon into a mob is a great way to end up defenseless. But he clarifies that while it's a trash skill, it's not useless if you don't take it literally. See, most players get stuck thinking ranged combat is just about bows and crossbows, or even the muskets and cannons coming in later updates, a stereotype that kills all creativity. He clarifies that warriors don't need bows since their insane strength is perfect for the throw skill, leaving Shalene baffled, wondering if he plans to just chuck rocks with his bare hands. Our boy says she's close, but the real secret is another trump card he's been hiding, which turns out to be grip enhancement, a skill Shalene immediately roasts as equally useless. But Lin Jai reveals this trash skill has a hidden synergy that elevates throw to god tier, and he combines the two abilities, channeling a surge of power into his arm for a demonstration, officially naming his brand new combo move the Rainbow Piercer as he prepares to show it off. The system immediately recognizes his invention, rewarding his pioneering gameplay with a custom skill name, proving this is how a warrior can get a ranged ability, forging a path nobody else has walked. Shalene is completely blown away, realizing he plays with the confidence of someone who's seen the future. Shalene admits he somehow pulled off the impossible, so it's time to talk about his reward, and she generously offers him 10 silver coins, claiming that was their original agreement. But when Lin Jay calls her out, she just says she changed her mind and the old deal is off, smugly confirming that giving up her title as manager was never actually on the table. Our boy is completely blindsided, realizing NPCs in this timeline can just straight up lie about quests, but Shalene just laughs, saying she's the boss, and he better hurry back before she changes her mind again. He decides to just take the money and cut ties, figuring she's on a one-way trip to villainy anyway, and as he turns to leave, he stomps the ground in frustration, cracking the earth beneath his feet, which immediately gives way, sending him plummeting down into a hidden chamber below the battlefield, and he lands right in the middle of her treasure vault, having found a much more direct entrance. A system alert confirms he's just face-planted into Shalene's legendary treasure vault of all places, realizing this is the same secret dungeon that players spent an entire season failing to find. But instead of mountains of gold, the place is just filled with hundreds of stuffed animals and a single framed photo on the wall, leaving him completely baffled by the lack of actual loot. He wanders through the piles of toys, trying to make sense of this bizarre treasure, until he gets a closer look at the picture and recognizes a young Shalene with someone familiar. It's Mayor Green, which means the town's underworld boss is actually the mayor's daughter. Our boy finally gets it. The treasure she was protecting wasn't wealth, but her childhood memories. Just then, Shalene appears from the shadows, admitting he's figured out all her secrets now, and Lin Jay connects the dots, realizing the mayor's security always failed in the past to protect her. Shalene scoffs at her father's protective nature, calling the mayor a clueless old geezer, and leaps down, arguing his strict order philosophy just coddles newbies who need a reality check. She believes players who can't handle the law of the jungle should learn that lesson early on, which is when Lin Jay chimes in saying he's actually inclined to agree with her on that point. But he immediately follows up by saying there's one key problem with her entire worldview. He asks what gives her the right to decide who's strong and who's weak in this world. He then uses the two of them as a perfect example, standing right there in her vault, before asking her point blank who she thinks is the stronger one between them right now. Shalene is actually impressed by his confidence, saying he'll find out the answer very soon, so Lin Jai doubles down on his original price, demanding her title, which she calls absolutely impossible. Lin Jai throws her own words right back at her, challenging her to live by her law of the jungle, and he sets the terms. If she loses, she obeys him, but she just asks what happens if he loses. Shalene smirks, confidently stating that losing isn't even an outcome she's willing to consider, before reminding him that as the only player who knows her secret, she has every reason to kill him. She summons a massive energy blade, taunting that even a dragon slayer is useless without a weapon, but our boy just activates his berserk skill, his body flaring with red energy as he gets ready for a real fight. The skill drains his health but skyrockets his power and speed, letting him break past his normal limits. And even Shalene has to admit his new power-up looks pretty impressive as she readies her own attack. As he closes the distance in a blur of motion, she prepares to meet his charge head-on, smugly pointing out the one tiny flaw in his plan: that cool new power only lasts for 3 seconds. Lin Jai just scoffs, his berserk skill flaring as he prepares to meet her attack head-on, and Shalene is done talking, clashing her energy blade against his bare fist in a shower of sparks. She mocks his weaponless approach, absolutely convinced he's no match for a blade, but our boy just unleashes a shock blade of his own, channeling pure force into his punch. The impact sends a massive shockwave through the vault, blasting Lin Jai across the room, and he lands hard as Shalene dives from above, ready to finish him off amidst the wreckage. That's when she realizes the night-roaming ghost has materialized, acknowledging his strength mid-fight. With his great sword in hand, Linji reminds her that only the strong get to make the rules, but she's not ready to give up, screaming from the rubble that she hasn't lost yet. So with a final desperate cry, she lunges forward for one last all-or-nothing strike. Linji scoffs at her desperate lunge, calmly stating that she has absolutely no chance of winning, but Shalene just powers up, screaming that her law of the jungle is the only rule that matters, absolutely convinced her overwhelming power is enough to crush him like any other player. And as their attacks collide, our boy thinks about how most people treat this world as just a game, but for him, after everything he's been through, this is a very real, bloody second life. Shalene is completely thrown by this sudden intensity, totally baffled by his declaration. Because our boy has seen a far colder and more desperate reality than she could ever imagine, which is exactly why he rejects her entire strong prey on the weak philosophy, flashing back to a memory. He remembers a past mission where his party had to rescue a kidnapped elf girl from a goblin raid, and the absolute terror on her face was a lesson he never forgot, proving this world's stakes are real. In his past life, after a successful rescue mission, one of his party members gets a dark idea, wondering what to do with the rescued elf NPC while pulling out a knife with a grim suggestion. The guy argues it's just better to kill her now to prevent her from alerting the goblin village, looming over the terrified girl while casually dismissing her as an NPC who will just respawn. Turns out he's just a psycho who thinks killing a realistic character would be a fun change of pace, and as Linji's past self tries to intervene, another teammate holds him back, warning him not to anger the group's boss. He's told to just accept it, since some players are only in the game for their sick thrills, and the guy even brings up his sick sister, reminding him he desperately needs the money from this run. But as the elf girl begs for her life, something inside Linji finally snaps, his teammate telling him to just look away, since she'll respawn in 10 minutes anyway. So in his past life, he just snaps, running the psycho teammate clean through with his sword, leaving the rest of the party completely stunned, demanding to know what the hell he just did. He can't believe it himself, having just one-shotted his own party's boss to save an NPC, and for his troubles, the system immediately slaps him with his very first red name status. Turns out his body moved before his brain could even weigh the consequences. He just couldn't watch anymore. He knows the game's system will just spawn a new, identical elf in 10 minutes anyway, but he can't shake the question of what happens to this specific one, the individual being. He realizes that if the game's rules are going to be this twisted and cruel, then he'll just have to enforce his own code of justice while he can still swing his sword, judging the world by his own morals and daring anyone who disagrees to come and kill him. Bringing it back to the present, Lin Jae tells Shalene his right to judge is simple. It's the fact he still chooses to draw his sword for a shred of goodwill. He says he understands her pain and the memories she's trying so desperately to protect, and while he can't experience them himself, he gets why she's so afraid to lose them. But he calls her out, saying her methods are wrong, arming her heart with spikes, which ultimately just hurts the people who care about her, and herself most of all. That lecture hits a serious nerve and she screams at him to just shut up already, but her emotional outburst creates the exact opening he was waiting for in their clash. He realizes he could easily deliver a fatal blow right now, completely ending the fight, but decides to teach this disobedient child a lesson with the flat of his blade instead. He holds the flat of his blade to her neck, proving this was a lesson, not an execution, and Shalene is completely broken, finally brought to tears by her overwhelming defeat. On her knees, she officially surrenders her title as manager of the Dark Street, while Lin Ji just watches, having completely shattered her law of the jungle philosophy. But as she admits defeat, he materializes a massive scabbard for the night-roaming ghost, leaving Shalene completely baffled, since she's certain her legendary sword never had one. Our boy reveals the sword was a gift from her father, Mayor Green, as he sheathes it, then explains the blade did have a scabbard, a little secret he uncovered in her vault. She argues that sheathing a blade means compromise, something her untamed will can't be bound by, but Lin Jae explains her father's true wish was for her to learn restraint and control her ambitions. He calls this philosophy of his something very simple, a little thing called goodwill, which flashes us back half an hour to see how this all started. Turns out Mayor Green had personally begged him to persuade his daughter to give up her life of crime, and when the mayor offered him any reward, Lin Jae just casually asked for 10 silver coins. The mayor was so overjoyed by the reasonable price that he immediately sealed the deal, which brings us back to the present, where Lin Jae realizes he triggered a hidden quest from the mayor. So the 10 silver coins Shalene tried to scam him out of just came right back into his pocket anyway, making him reflect on the power of restraint, knowing an undrawn blade is the sharpest of all. Our boy understands that with everything about to change, both the town and the mayor need him, and as he looks over, even Shalene seems to have found a bit of peace in her defeat. Shalene is still reeling from her loss, admitting he's earned his Blade of Dawn title, and she officially dissolves the Dark Street, declaring there's no longer a boss in Meltown. Her goons immediately panic, wondering how they're supposed to make a living now that they're unemployed, so Shalene pivots to a new business model, becoming a loan shark for broke newbie players. When Lin Jai points out this is basically the same thing, she frames it as an investment in public safety, a flimsy excuse our boy accepts, knowing it's enough to make her father happy. Right on cue, the system confirms he's completed the mayor's hidden quest and gained massive reputation. But back in town, Linjai realizes he's now weaponless after returning Shalin's legendary greatsword, leaving him with his old world tree branch, which has reverted back to a simple wooden stick, and its base stats are now way too low to keep up with his current level. Back in Meltown, Linjai's #1 priority is finding a weapon that isn't a glorified twig, when he spots a group of players making a scene, shouting that they're quitting the game and they're clearing out their inventory, trying to hawk all their treasures to the gathered crowd. Their main prize is a super rare heirloom artifact, the legendary sword of Karsi Mel, which is dramatically stuck in a stone, and Lin Jae immediately recognizes the famous weapon. It's the personal sword of the legendary sword saint himself, a major hero in the game's history. And the entire town of Mel was actually named after this legendary figure and his blade. But our boy knows the truth, this heirloom is just a useless ornament with zero combat value. So when a newbie asks the price, the seller just grins, knowing he's got them hooked, then announces he's giving it away for free, thanking the person who gave him this scam idea. The scammer starts his sob story, claiming he got poisoned, lost levels, and then fell off a bridge. But while drowning, he supposedly stumbled upon the legendary sword of Karsi Mel at the riverbed. He and his buddy were ecstatic, absolutely convinced they had just discovered a priceless heirloom artifact, until an appraiser bluntly informed him the sword was just a worthless souvenir, total trash. With his hopes completely shattered, he decided to turn his bad luck into a brand new scam, and now he's in the town square, laying out the rules for his little giveaway to a crowd of newbies. The challenge is simple enough: beat his brother in an arm wrestling match to win the sword for free. A nearby player is completely buying it, shocked that anyone would give away a legendary weapon, but Lin Jai just watches the whole performance, a very different kind of plan forming in his mind. Since his world tree branch can fuse with any weapon, even this broken piece of junk. A burly barbarian player with 18 strength immediately volunteers, absolutely sure he's got this in the bag. He's already celebrating, figuring the scrawny guy across the table doesn't stand a chance against him. But the scammer smirks, explaining there's a small catch to this free challenge. If you lose, you owe him 1 silver coin, a price the overconfident barbarian happily accepts. As they lock hands, Lin Jai watches from the crowd, planning to give it a shot after this guy's done. The match begins, and the scammer's brother just grins, knowing the poor guy fell for the bait. Turns out he has a hidden curse that drains 10 strength points from anyone who touches him, a nasty little trick that ensures no newbie player can ever hope to win this rigged game. The barbarian's strength instantly plummets to 8, and he loses his entire net worth in a single moment. Just as the scammers are celebrating their easy money, Lin Jai calmly sits down, asking for his turn. The scammers immediately recognize him as the legendary Blade of Dawn, totally losing their minds that he's here. Turns out the main guy, Zaro, has a personal grudge after failing to copy Lin Jai's potion-making skills. He sees this as his one big chance for a head-to-head showdown to finally get his revenge, and he blames Lin Jai for his group's misfortunes, radiating some serious killing intent our boy's way. They convince themselves he must be a beta tester with insider knowledge, so Zaro vows to humiliate him. To fight fire with fire, Zaro chugs an alchemy potion, boosting his own strength to 14 for the match, now completely convinced he's invincible and ready to absolutely crush the so-called Blade of Dawn. As the match begins, Lin Jai notices his opponent is literally steaming, which is a new one. Zaro unleashes his full power with a maniacal scream, only for Lin Jai to calmly ask him to hold on, and with a sickening crack, Zaro's arm completely shatters, sending him flying across the town square. The scammer is left completely stunned and disarmed, wondering what in the world just happened, and it turns out Lin Jai's grip enhancement skill is so broken it treated the guy's arm as a weapon, so since he was unarmed, the game's knockback effect just launched his entire body across the square. Zaro's brother just gives him a thumbs up, sarcastically calling him his brother's destined enemy. But Lin Jai has absolutely no idea who this guy is, which only makes the scammer even angrier. Completely ignoring the tantrum, our boy just declares victory and moves to claim his prize. But the sore loser immediately screams that it's not going to be that simple at all. He immediately pivots to Plan B, yelling for the town guards and claiming they witnessed an assault, accusing Lin Jai of malicious injury and demanding he be thrown in jail for at least 24 hours. Our boy just sighs, realizing these guys have even figured out how to weaponize the guards for their scam. The town guards arrive, but instead of making an arrest, they greet the Blade of Dawn with total respect. And Lin Jai's casual nod sends the scammer into a full-blown panic, as Zaro realizes they're all chummy, immediately suspecting our boy has the guards in his pocket. His mind races, convinced Lin Ji must have a secret deal with the game devs themselves. The guards officially rule the match a fair contest, clearing Lin Ji of any malicious injury charges, then pivot hard, announcing Zaro and his buddy are the ones actually being investigated for fraud. So the system immediately drops the hammer, slapping Zaro's brother with a 24-hour ban. The guy absolutely loses it while being dragged away, screaming that Lin Jae is the real cheater, while our boy just takes his prize, calmly advising the sore loser to find a new career path. And as he walks off, a mysterious figure watches from above, clearly intrigued by the whole show. That mysterious observer finally reveals himself, an old man who questions if our boy is worthy and decides to test him, But before he can even start, Linjai unleashes a massive golden bird-like attack of his own, slamming it directly into the old man's hastily erected magical barrier with overwhelming force. The geezer immediately panics, realizing his wind wall is about to shatter from the sheer pressure, and the barrier explodes, sending him flying as the attack rips right through his defenses. Linjai is actually a bit surprised, realizing the old man's wall almost held up against his move, and as the dust settles, the attack has carved a path of destruction right to his opponent. The old man is left coughing and wounded, having completely misjudged the kid he was about to test, while our boy is just annoyed, disappointed that his all-out ambush didn't result in an instant kill. But his opponent gets back up, admiring the gamble before smugly declaring the fight is already over. Lin Ji realizes the backlash from his last attack is catching up, and his health is dropping fast. And to make matters worse, his big move also threw away his only weapon, which the old man now holds. The geezer immediately presses his advantage, unleashing a wind-riding sword attack to finish him off. But our boy sees this not as a threat, but as the exact split-second opening he needed. He gets a traveling light buff, using the wind pressure to dodge with impossible speed. Turns out ditching his heavy greatsword was a calculated move to boost his agility for this exact moment. He weaves through the storm of blades, closing the distance in the blink of an eye, leaving the old man completely stunned by his god-tier combat sense, wondering who this kid even is. Lin Jai then activates grip enhancement, his fist glowing as he prepares to land a decisive blow, and the old man calls him arrogant, meeting the punch with his own energy blade in a massive explosion. The shockwave from their clash sends Lin Jai skidding back across the clearing, but our boy is still locked in, his glowing fist ready for another round of high-stakes punching. The old man is completely floored, realizing the kid actually planned to shatter his defenses barehanded, so he unleashes a whirlwind of slashes, trapping Lin Jai in a vortex of razor-sharp wind. The geezer moves with incredible speed, his blade tracing deadly arcs through the air, closing the distance in a flash to land what looks like a decisive blow. And it seems to connect, engulfing Lin Jai in a blast of pure wind energy. But it turns out that was just a wind illusion, a classic misdirection play from the old man. The real one appears right behind him, unleashing another wind-riding sword attack at point-blank range, and with Lin Jai's health in the gutter, the old man declares the fight is officially over. But Lin Jai just smirks, calmly stating it's way too early to call the fight over, and the old man realizes that entire barrage of attacks was just to force him into a defensive retreat. It finally clicks that he's been perfectly herded right back to where Lin Ji's sword is waiting. He's completely stunned, wondering if this entire exchange was part of the kid's master plan, but he's not giving him a chance, convinced one more wind-riding sword will end this for good, which is when Lin Ji calmly says he never planned to run, grabbing his sword from the ground. He activates Death's Respite, unleashing a massive surge of dark energy as he powers up, a classic warrior skill the old man recognizes for its clutch low-health healing ability. And the geezer is absolutely furious, realizing our boy was saving this trump card for the perfect comeback. With his health rapidly regenerating, Lin Jai charges straight into the attack to finish this. With his health rapidly regenerating, Lin Jai tanks the old man's entire attack head-on, but the sheer force still leaves him with a sliver of health, barely clinging to life, which leaves the geezer completely stunned, wondering how any human could pull off such a perfect calculation. Lin Ji knows this is it, declaring that victory or defeat will be decided by this one final move, so he goes all in, activating a high-risk dual berserk skill that engulfs him in a dark aura, and with a ground-shattering stomp, he prepares to unleash his full, unrestrained power. The double activation pushes his body far beyond its normal limits, his eyes glowing with raw energy, but the cost is insane, draining a massive 2% of his health every single second. With only 5% HP left, he's got a 2-second window to end this fight before he dies, and convinced that's all he needs, he activates grip enhancement for one final decisive charge. With his eyes glowing red, Lin Jai unleashes his final desperate attack, slamming his sword down to unleash his custom-made piercing rainbow move. A massive wave of dark energy carves a path straight toward the old man, who barely has time to raise his sword, bracing for the overwhelming impact. Their attacks collide in a massive explosion, completely engulfing the battlefield in light, and the geezer is sent flying backwards, his defense is totally shattered by the sheer power. That's when a system window pops up, revealing the entire fight was just a simulation. The old man is impressed, asking if that piercing rainbow was Lin Ji's own creation, then questions why our boy insists on using such an unorthodox, non-mecha fighting style. Lin Ji just smirks, declaring he simply prefers to forge his very own path. The old man realizes Lin Ji intentionally missed that final devastating blow, officially congratulating him for passing the legendary trial of the sword. As a reward, the geezer offers to repair the broken blade he just won. Then, as the wind-riding sword saint, he bestows the Sword Oathkeeper title upon Lin Jai. He admits our boy's strength is genuinely impressive, but there's a catch. Turns out, of all the players who've passed this trial, Lin Jai is the lowest level. That immediately gets him thinking, realizing he's not the first one to clear this. And the Sword Saint confirms that one other person has already passed the test. The other player is apparently around Lin Jai's age and also a dedicated swordsman. But with one key difference, this rival chose the path of the one-handed sword. The Sword Saint reveals the rival's name is Bailey Chongcheng, a golden-haired swordsman of legend, and that name sends Lin Jie reeling, instantly triggering a very painful memory, flashing back to a promise they made to become the strongest and have a final showdown, a friendly rivalry that was supposed to push them both to their absolute limits. But the memory turns dark, with his past self demanding to know why Bailey betrayed their promise, questioning their brotherhood as he's struck down in a crushing final defeat. His rival just coldly tells him to accept the loss, saying there's no point in arguing, even claiming the betrayal was for his own good, a reason Lin Jae clearly never accepted. Back in the present, the Sword Saint snaps him out of it, joking about his high ping, while Lin Jae just grips his broken sword, the memory fueling a whole new level of rage. Lin Jae absolutely snaps, demanding to know where his old rival Bailey Chongcheng is right now, and the Sword Saint is completely taken aback, asking him to calm down and explain the grudge. Grabbing the old man, our boy calls Bailey an unforgivable cheater, his rage boiling over, and he even vows to go kill him on the spot if the geezer just points him in the right direction. But the Sword Saint calmly explains that the guy he met doesn't sound like a cheater at all, suggesting it's a case of mistaken identity, which only makes Lin Jae even more furious. The geezer then flashes back to Bailey's trial, describing a kid who gave it his absolute all, a determined swordsman whose only goal was to become the strongest through his own power. He recalls knocking the kid down over and over again during their brutal test, but Bailey just kept getting up, begging for a fair fight without any mercy. Lin Jae realizes his rival's original goal was just like his, to become the strongest through pure skill. But the Sword Saint warns him not to judge the present based on a future that hasn't happened yet. And when Lin Jae insists the future him is a traitor, the Saint logically asks how he could possibly know. That's when it finally clicks for our boy. The Bailey in this timeline isn't the betrayer from his memory, since this version of his rival still has the pure heart of a warrior who wants to win on his own terms. The old man warns that such a powerful obsession can also easily lead someone completely astray, pointing out he's letting his memories of the past predetermine an outcome that isn't set in stone. He explains that destiny is not a story that can be written in advance, and the future Lin Jae remembers is missing one crucial variable: his own choices in the present. With that, our boy finally understands that the person he wants revenge on isn't this Bailey Chongcheng. With his rage gone, our boy is left wondering what could have forced his rival to betray his own beliefs